What's going on, world? It's your homie Sensei Rippin'. I'm back again with another video. Today we got Russell Simmons reacting to Dave Chappell's monologue on SNL last night. So y'all know how we do, man. Let's check out this clip and hear what Russell has to say. Make sure to leave your thoughts and comments down in the section below. Yeah, let's get right to it.
Let me share what's in my meditation on this, and you talk after. So I woke up this morning, and I got 3 copies of Dave Chappell's words sent to me. I went to bed. You know, I live in Bali a lot. Half my time is spent here in Bali. The other half the time I'm with you guys in the mess. But half the time I'm here. And so I don't see things at the same time you see them. So I saw Dave Chappell's monologue on Saturday Night Live. Like, wow. It's loaded because, you know, I'm very sensitive to the Jewish community and to their pain. And so when I saw Dave say things that are hard to digest, I was like, wow, what they're going to do, cancel him? So it became, and then I saw I saw Abe Foxman's letter about Farrakhan. The only media about Farrakhan's speech was Abe Foxman's letter that he wrote in the Wall Street Journal. Abe Foxman's the former head of the ADL. Anyway, I spoke to the minister a few days ago as well, at length, after his speech. And it was, you know, as always, you know, his honest impression of where we black Americans are and our relationship with the Jewish community and the world. And so it was more of the minister. Well done. Beautiful speech in its execution. And the words, some of them are very biting, but we'll talk about that another time. I love the minister. I say that often. People get upset. Many people are canceled just for saying they know him. Obama's like, I don't, you know, he's friends with the minister, but he had denounced him to be president. And everybody who hasn't denounced him, most have lost their jobs. Arsenio lost his job for 20 years. Anyway, that's another subject as well. So I spoke to the minister, and I had a good talk with him. But yesterday, again, and I've been speaking pretty regularly to the new head of the ADL. That man's name is Jonathan Goldblatt. And Jonathan is, you know, I really sympathize with him because he is doing everything he can to protect the Jewish community against any repeats of any of the atrocities that they have experienced in the past. And the more he can do, the best way to do it, it's always whether you could suppress an idea or whether you should invest. It's always, as in Israel, you know, people are afraid. Should they use force? Should they use love? Should they use a combination of force and love? These are the questions, you know, when you're trying to survive. How do you get your adversaries to love you and to allow you to exist? And how do you promote fairness so that you can exist for a long time, right? Because if you promote love, then there's a lasting partnership. And if you promote force, because that's all you feel is left, then you always got a potential for an uprising. So we go back to Dave Chappell and his words. He talked about the power dynamic. And this is the issue in the bottom of all of it. If you look at my post, which I'm going to repost because it's so important, about my partnership with the Jewish community in every single industry. Jewelry, fashion, film, television, music, financial services. I mean, only because it was the white man was in charge. But the white man who was in charge of a lot of the industries more than pound for pound, very powerful, are the Jewish members of those industries, the Jewish community members. And they are the ones who've empowered not only me, but almost every black billionaire or black success story in these industries. It has been a Jewish partner that's empowered them. So when you say that, it's beautiful to see that the Jews are such great collaborators, but then it also leads to Well, why do you have to go to a Jewish member? Why can't you just do it? Well, because all industry requires partnership, and because they, in many cases, in financial service, in jewelry, and in fashion, well, not in fashion, but in the shmata business or the garment business, these are jobs left for the Jews by the wasps. Left for the Jews by the wasps. Entertainment is even dirty. Money is dirty. These are things that were given to them, and they turned lemons into lemonade. So it's their good fortune. It is their good fortune that they are successful in these industries. But it is also a curse, because it has been the nucleus of the critique of the Jewish community in various societies where they have been attacked for having success. It is cultural. It is in their religion and culture to fend for themselves and to be good merchants and businessmen. And it is cultural, something that we were robbed of when it comes to our most beautiful culture. We have reinvented ourselves, and we have made the most powerful culture in America and in the world. But that is not necessarily empowering. Although hip-hop is becoming more and more empowering, and the only success stories we have are coming out of hip-hop. And they're not only in hip-hop, they're taking their hip-hop power, as I did, and spreading it throughout other industries. But in general, the idea of empowerment for community is a core component in the Jewish community. Is why they have survived. So the question is, how then do we protect ourselves, if we are Jewish, against the rising discussion of the power dynamic? What do we do? Like, if we mention power and Jew, we're in trouble. Because they are definitely in trouble, or have been in trouble, every time anybody would ever mention power and Jew, success and Jew. Every time you mention it, they're threatened because they have had the experience. You can't tell them that it's good for people to talk about the success of the Jews. So this is a real question. And I talked to Abe Bachman. Abe Bachman and I didn't get along on a lot. He's the one who wrote the letter about the minister. He's the former head of the ADL. But the new ADL, Jonathan, is very interested in creating a discussion and promotion and empowerment vehicle in a Black Jewish foundation, which I've mentioned and talked about. He really understands why pound for pound this successful community against pound for pound this not so successful community have so much in common and such a common enemy, and so much they can do good together. And it should not just be talk. It should be business. It should be, how do we empower the Black community? They have numbers, we have some power. When you put the numbers and the power together, we can protect ourselves against the common threat of white supremacy. Because it's not that the blacks are mentioning the power dynamic and that the white supremacists aren't watching, and to their delight, it's a reason to put a sword in the hearts of the Jewish community. And white supremacists are benefiting watching us fight. So the discussion of the power dynamic and the use of it as a collaborative tool is what we must discuss today. We have to talk about a partnership between blacks and Jewish that will uplift economically the Black community and will help them to empower their communities in the ways that Jewish people have empowered themselves. It's nothing wrong with a discussion that kind of mirrors reparations. There's nothing wrong with, look, when we were trying to get in the music business, I'll give you a few stories. When we were trying to get in the music business and we had our music and we were the core and most powerful cultural dynamic, but we were starving because we didn't have distribution. It was the Jews who were allowed to be in the music industry who took their power and got us on the radio and got us in music in a more meaningful way. When I went to the jewelry business, because they asked me to go to work with Mandela, and I went to meet with him, and we talked about the Diamond Empowerment Fund. When I went back, of course, it was the Jews from the Oppenheimer family and all in the Jews in Africa, the Jews here, the Jews everywhere, wanted to help me build schools. And millions and millions of dollars were pumped into schools that educated, uplifted Africans. So that was the Diamond Empowerment Fund, but it was the Jews. And in America, it was the Jews who put me in the jewelry business. Simmons Jewelry, if you might remember, before your time. What I'm telling you is that there is a partnership, a collaboration, and that we have to find a way to discuss the dynamic, but not use it as a way to hurt the community, but they must help us use it in a way to uplift their community, not only economically, but in terms of their status and their appreciation of their presence in America. Because the hate is rising, 5 times the number of hate crimes against them, and they're such a small community, they feel threatened. So can we make profit out of pain? Thank you, profit out of pain. That's what I'm going to call this, profit out of pain. There is pain. Can we empower economically our brothers? And can we use our numbers to protect and empower our brothers and build the bridges that will lift us all up and protect us from the threat of white supremacy? This is my discussion today that was on my heart, and especially after watching Dave Chappell, because there's no canceling him on this. And we can't just suppress the idea that we're doing well as Jewish members of the American community. We must partner with our brothers and sisters in a Black Jewish Foundation coalition. And it has to make money. It has to be, you know, I told a story to Minister Farrakhan, and I told it the other day on this, the story, I told this to Minister Farrakhan 20 some odd years ago, about, and I told it to you, if you remember, I'm going to put up the old blog or old talk. The Syrian Jewish guy comes to me and said, let's buy this building. And I said, well, the building that sold our clothes, by the way, because there were many buildings selling Fat Farm. Must have been 2 Dr. Dave's, 2 Jimmy Jazz, S&D's. There were so many places, high-end stores that sold high-end hip-hop clothes that were owned by a Syrian community, a small Jewish community in Brooklyn, owned all of these buildings and all this business on 125th Street in Harlem. I said the reason that they owned it is because the WASP didn't want them and the blacks couldn't afford them. It was just business. Let's buy this building, promote black-owned, and let everyone know that blacks didn't own the other buildings. So that seemed pretty tough on your cousin who owns the building next door. It's business. So we didn't do the building. I should have, because the building, of course, is worth a fortune now. But the point I'm making is it's business. If we want to make this world a better place, entrepreneurs are part of it. Entrepreneurs will clean up the stuff in the ocean and turn it into bricks and build buildings out of it. Entrepreneurs will make straws that are not made out of plastic but made out of some fabric that disintegrates. Entrepreneurs will save us from our horrific choices. Entrepreneurs will make meat out of test tubes instead of raising animals that destroy the planet. Entrepreneurs, business. So in the communities where we are more vegan, in the communities where we build ideas, in the communities where we are talented in various different industries, let us partner when necessary and let it make sense economically to everyone involved. Get the Robert Smiths and the Bob Johnsons and the next Kanye, and maybe even save and bring back Kanye and partner with our brothers and sisters and build up our communities. And it's kind of like reparations. It's not a handout. And again, the Jewish community needs your partnership. You have something of great value, your numbers, and something of great value, your culture and your creativity. So let's use that and partner with that and build a new reality. And also, let's protect ourselves against the angry mob of white supremacists that is growing as we speak. That's it. So I'm going to post my experiences with the Jews. I'm going to promote my experiences with the Jews. I'm going to build a coalition where my experiences with the Jews are a model for the experiences of other African Americans with their Jewish brothers and sisters. Because today, my friends in the Syrian community who came to my wedding in St. Bart's, who go there every year still, and who have been 50 to 75 families who've been uplifted by our partnership, they have had great experiences. They can testify to what great partnership. Oh, my brother, come on with me live. Brother, you are a perfect Jewish businessman. Burrell Solomon. Solomon, ask the request to come on live. Let's have a talk. Let's talk about the empowerment of blacks and Jews through partnerships. You would be a great partner to join our coalition. Let's go, he says. So how do I get you on here? Can't you press to try to go live with me? Maybe not. All right, so it's long enough already. People don't want to listen too much. But just know that we must build a partnership and a coalition for the future. Not to judge or cancel, especially when we talk about the power imbalance. Let us just acknowledge it and use it to lift us up. Thank you. Namaste, yogis.